Hello, my name is Nini White, and I'm the founder of Kids Own Wisdom. Although sometimes I feel like Kids Own Wisdom found me. Maybe I'll explain that a little further on, but let's jump right into what you've come here to learn. First things first, can you think of a single person in the whole wide world, young, old, or in between, who doesn't want to be happy? True, people have massively different ways of defining and finding happiness, but there are also a few commonly shared influences that can be relied upon to increase happiness and stabilize an essential sense of self worth. So, if you feel that part of your responsibility as an educator is to nurture kids' sense of happiness and self worth, then I invite you to consider the following. When children are difficult, when they shut down on us, when they won't cooperate, when they're stubborn to the extreme, even when they understand that they might be facing unpleasant consequences for their behavior, it's important to consider what could be motivating them. There are, of course, many motivating factors, but oftentimes, very often really, kids don't feel they can be happy if they don't feel acknowledged for who they are, for their values, and for their perspectives. Values and perspectives that have been forming within them long before they even had words to express themselves, which is a well researched area of study at major universities. And if you're interested in that research, I can send links to you. Just email your request. Young kids' feelings are often intense. We've all experienced that. They understand quite a lot about what's going on around them, usually more than they're given credit for. And that's because their actions don't always make it look like they understand, which can definitely be frustrating for us and for them. Of course, some of young children's feelings and understandings are biased, but not all of their feelings and understandings. So, always being told what to do, how to behave, what to think, and what to say does not generally improve young attitudes because that approach really goes against the grain of their emergent individuality. And so they just get better and better at tuning us out, which is pretty much the exact opposite kind of relationship that does any good for anyone. So, unless new ways of interacting with kids are adopted, the chances of things magically getting better are pretty slim. Wouldn't you agree? So, if kids want to be acknowledged for their values and perspectives, then more listening and less talking is actually a very good place to start. Listening to young children is incredibly important because it builds mutual respect and it stabilizes their hardwired connection to their own empathy, their own intuition, and their own humane instincts. Listening to children genuinely and consistently acknowledging their point of view doesn't mean agreeing with it, but it means acknowledging it nourishes relationships, which invariably improves behaviors. So, how do we recommend acknowledging young children? We recommend bringing together groups of kids, the kids with challenging behaviors and their non challenging peers, for peer group discussions. Why peer group discussions? Because kids are fascinated by each other. And when they participate in peer group discussions based on the kinds of questions that genuinely respect everyone's intelligence, everyone's personal experiences and insights, they listen, they pay attention to, and they relate to each other's answers. But only if the questions are broad enough so that no one ever feels singled out. Because we never ever want kids to feel defensive. Because being on the defensive is a surefire way to get kids, or anyone really, to shut down. Instead, we recommend the kinds of questions that evoke kids' own hardwired capacity to objectively and collaboratively think about familiar situations in fresh ways. Questions that grab kids' attention, causing them to listen to each other, which increases their awareness of each other, which increases their awareness of how much they all have in common. And that element of shared discovery without lectures about how similarly they feel and understand life's challenges gradually dislodges barriers of isolation and increases a sense of belonging, something that has been shown beyond all doubt is a basic human requirement for happiness and self worth, which was the starting point for this short overview. Even though people have massively different ways of defining and finding happiness, there are a few reliable, commonly shared keys to increasing happiness. Among them, being seen, being heard, being genuinely acknowledged, and also, very importantly, a sense of belonging. With twice a week use, the easy to implement Kids Own Wisdom peer group discussions have been shown to positively impact both those areas. Want to see what educators have to say? Educators who've been using Kids Own Wisdom? Press the pause button if you'd like to read these. And these. And so, giving attention to kids when they're purposefully expressing their own intelligence, their own natural born empathy, their own insights, in other words, their own wisdom, serves to stabilize those happiness and character building elements, enabling to trust those aspects of themselves, which is something that really needs to start happening in children's earliest years so they never lose touch with those most essential elements of their individuality. Can you imagine what the world would be like if all children grew up with that advantage? There's so much more we'd like to share with you about the Kids Own Wisdom approach, which includes validating research, the brain science of learning, broader explanations about short and long-term benefits, trainings for different educational environments, our calendar of presentations at educational conferences, resources, and much more. Check out the website and send us an email with your questions. We would love to hear from you.